It's Alison Harbaugh joining us from the USF women's lacrosse team. Hey, Allison, how are you?
Hi, Jay. I'm great. Good to see you. Thanks for
Good to,
having me.
yeah, good to see you. Thank you so much. Love the shirt with the pink and for
Oh,
internet.
yeah.
I
Love
love
our breast
that.
cancer game. Yep.
Unbelievable. Yes. And I'm so glad you can join us. I don't know if Micah told you about the premise of the show today, but tomorrow is International Women's Day. And I
Yeah.
wanted to highlight different women on around the country. We've already had Stephanie Hypes, who works for the WWE. She joined us from Arizona. Trisha Whitaker chimed in from Indiana. My mom actually texted in from New
That's
York.
awesome.
And now you're here in the Tampa Bay area. And
Oh, man.
obviously, we'll get to kind of your sporting and athletic background, but what does it mean right now to be part of this inaugural team with USF? I got a chance to talk to Sophia a couple weeks ago and Coach McCord. Like you ladies, your entire group is making a profound impact. What does that mean to be a part of something that is just it's so new and so fresh and making a huge mark on the Tampa Bay area?
Yeah, oh my gosh, so many things. It's been a blast. I think like you said, just making a mark on the Tampa Bay area. Not many people here like even play lacrosse just at a youth level. So we've been trying to grow the game that way with having camps and getting little girls to come to our games. And it's been so fun to kind of step into that role model position, which I've never like maybe gotten to experience. I think it's really good for our team to kind of just grow into leaders and have kids look up to us. It's amazing for it's a great time to be a woman in sport, honestly, right now. And just starting a new program, you kind of get to decide how you want the culture to be and leave your mark and just come in here. That was an opportunity I couldn't pass up. So we've been doing a great job. I think the coaches are such great leaders with that.
Yeah, it's a great point because I went to the game a couple weeks ago and I turned around and all of a sudden it was like click, clack, click, clack, all the cleats, and it was just so many of these little girls that were playing at halftime.
Yes.
You may not realize, and you sound like you do, but I think you'll realize it as you get older. You realize the impact that this team like you can never take away. There's only one first, and the
Yeah.
ability to be able to do that. Just take us through your thought process of coming here to South Florida. How much did the new, team and the new program have to do with it? What did the coaching staff had to do with it? What about the Tampa Bay area? Like, what goes into
Hmm.
that decision?
Oh my gosh, yeah, I think you nailed it. Just all the aspects of it. First of all, the McCords were the main reason I kind of came out here for a visit to Tampa. I mean, I had known them from recruiting as a child, and Coach Paul would kind of have, he would have the Ravens connection as well. So I knew that they were people of faith and they were going to build a great culture from the bottom up. So I knew that that was just going to be amazing to be a part of that kind of team and the coaching staff. And then when I got here, I was like blown away just by the Tampa Bay area, the weather, and just the effort that the athletic department was putting into the program, like a women's sport, and a women's Olympic sport, as that was just incredible. And I knew it was going to be done right from day one. So it was, I couldn't pass it up.
Allison, tell us about that being a USF athlete, because I've had whether it was Jaden Reed on the basketball team, Josie Foreman on the softball team, Sophia, a couple weeks ago. There's just something different about USF where it's not just like, here's women's lacrosse, here's baseball, here's basketball, here's softball, here's this coach, here's this coach, here's this coach. Michael Kelly's at this game, but he's not at this game. Like, it just seems like everybody together, the green and gold, like everybody supports everybody. Do you feel that as a South Florida athlete?
Yeah, absolutely. It's definitely unique and not at every school. And I think that probably stems from Michael Kelly. He's always coming to our games, coming to practices just to hang out. It's a very family, like close knit feel, which is incredible because it's such a large school. So I wasn't expecting that coming in, just having that tight knit athlete community. And I think it's unique because it's a public university, but
Mhm.
it's also an AAU school, so I think that combination just helps a lot with the atmosphere and getting fans out. But yeah, I've definitely found a great community. We have a great FCA group and just great teammates. They bring good people here. I don't know if it's Michael Kelly, the coaches, just something's working. It's just such a great family vibe. I've been loving it. I'm so
It
blessed.
it is awesome. 4-2 through your first 6 games there with the Bulls. I got a big matchup on Sunday at 1 o'clock. It's the bark at the park and salute to
Yeah,
service. We're never short of having themed
all the
games with the
things.
South Florida. We love it. But
Always
just
a
take us
theme.
take us through the season so far, because I was there at the first game. I thought it was historic. I had chills just to be able
Yeah.
to see how many people were at that game, and you destroyed Kennesaw State. I felt bad for the goalie after a while. And then even looking at a game like Florida, right? I went over there and to be able to watch, and obviously you come up on the wrong end, but you're hanging with a dang good team, and then you respond, lose a close one to Towson, but you come back with the win with St. Bonaventure. Like, what has the season been like so far? You're 6 games in. You got to feel pretty good about being 4-2.
Yeah, it's a good feeling. I think, like you said, it's not common that a first year program comes in and does this well right off the bat
Mhm.
against programs who have been established for a very long time, like Florida and Towson. Those are both programs that are renowned, women's lacrosse. And so I think that's been a great thing, a great look for us. But I think at the same time, we know that we're not even playing at our best yet. I think that we're young, and I mean, most of our team hasn't even played in, a real season, a real game up until this year, even the sophomores, because of last year. So I think it's exciting. We're going to peak at the right time, and I think we're looking forward to conference play. So as well as we've been doing, I think there's a lot of hope for the future, and we kind of know that we're just getting started. So it's very exciting.
Growing up, and when I had my mom on a little while before, we were talking about how like family, your sports love or your love of sports really comes from your family. It came from my dad. It came from my grandfathers. It came from my grandma, who still watches every Mets game and talks to every player by their first name, even though she's never met them. Good swing, Pete. Like, she says stuff like that.
Yeah.
Growing up in a sports family, like, it's what was that like to grow up around, obviously your dad, your uncle, everybody was just so darn competitive. And did you
Yeah.
ever get the feeling of like, I don't want to do sports, or it just seemed like, hey, this is what the Harbaughs do. We're a sports family.
Oh man, honestly, it's just kind of what we do. I think
Yeah.
I was kind of thrown into it, but at the same time, it's like, like anything, you're surrounded by people who are at the top of their field, I guess you could say.
Mhm.
And you're just so motivated to work hard, and being around my dad, my uncle, my grandpa. Like, I'll look over at the sidelines, and my grandpa and my dad laughing, and we're like, shoot, shoot. I'm like, okay, I get it. Like, chill. I've been seeing that site since I was 10 years old on the basketball court. Same thing. But no, they just, oh my gosh, they've pushed me in the best ways to my dad. I was talking to him the other day. He was like, I saw your potential when you were a little girl, and he found the perfect balance of pushing me, but also not being too hard. And he's like the ultimate coach and friend for me. Like, after every game, I'm always like, did you see anything? What could I do better? And, and now the football's over, especially we were in preseason. He's like, how was practice? How was practice? Send me the clips. I'm like, all right, I just calm down. No, but
I
it's
love
just
that.
such a blessing to have the resources and the support. They're endlessly proud of me and my parents. No matter what I do, I could have the worst game or the best game, but it's just been awesome to have that support system.
How important is that when it comes to communication? Because we have a lot of former professional athletes that are here in the Bay Area, and I've coached baseball for a while, and I think that was one of the big things that I was able to pick the brain of some of my buddies that did play pro ball, is them as a parent. They really wanted to separate the two, and they didn't want to like be so hard. They want to be there, they want to be intense, they want to make sure that you're giving a great effort, but they really wanted to make sure that there was a little bit of a difference between dad and the coach, or mom and the coach. Just talk about
Mhm.
that. Like, your dad's got one of the greatest jobs in the world, right? Like, he's one of the most respected NFL coaches, right? And people, your last name is one of those, like, you can't write the history of football without the Harbaugh family being involved. But at the end of the day, like, he's your dad, right? So like, how has that
Yeah.
balance been over the years with your dad, being such a prominent name there in the NFL and in football, but him always being there for you, like you just said, just being dad and being kind of, an ear to listen and also a shoulder to, just lean on maybe during some tough times.
Yeah, that's a great question. I think when I was a kid, I didn't fully appreciate his coaching advice, probably because he's your dad, right? You don't want to listen to
Right.
your dad. And then finally, I think in high school, as recruiting picked up and stuff, I'm like, all right, he kind of knows what he's talking about. This is kind of what he does
Hmm.
for a living. But ever since then, we play one on one in the backyard. He gives me great tips. But I think it is like a balance that even most parents, even if they're not coaches, probably struggle with, and I'm going to be
Right.
thinking about as a parent as well. I think probably the difference between a parent and a coach, or even if you're a good coach, you should do this as well. He does it with his players, but at the end of the day, he's like, the best piece of advice he's given me is like, hey, if you worked hard and you did your best, you can lay down your head on the pillow at night and be proud of yourself, you know? And I know that no matter what I do, my parents are infinitely proud of me and they're just so happy I'm here and I get to be on the field. And like, what a blessing it is to be in Florida playing lacrosse at this level, you know? I mean, it's just incredible. So, I think he's so proud of that, and I've definitely over the years I got matured in my own way, and
Mhm.
God, now I can finally take coaching tips from him. But yeah, it's a tough thing, but it's such a blessing.
He's your parents have done such a great job raising you, and I'm sure they love in Florida too. I remember I went to the
Yeah.
Ravens Buccaneers game years ago, and it was raining and it was wet, and I was all the way in the top and all the way in the corner. Allison, I was literally the farthest person from your dad that day. It was free. There's a picture of me up in Baltimore like this, and
Oh man, I
I'm like,
bet.
I love football, I love football, I love football. Like that was dedication right there. I
Yeah.
loved it. Who would you say who's the most competitive hardball out of the bunch?
Oh, well, I'm gonna say me. Everyone's probably gonna say themselves. I'm gonna say myself, but I'm sure that everyone else would beg to differ. But it's hilarious whenever we don't get to see each other as much as probably other families, just because
Mhm.
everyone has different seasons and their teams, and we're all spread out right now across the country. But every time we get together, it's like, oh, who's the tallest? Let's measure our wingspans, or like, let's go play a game of pickup basketball that's gonna be friendly, but it turns out not to be friendly. And it's just hide and seek for 2 hours who can be in the best hiding spot. So I think like any family is a friendly competition, maybe just on steroids a little bit, but everyone's got that edge about them, and that's why they're successful. You know, you have to have that edge, I think. But it's been fun.
Yeah, I love that. Yeah, I mean, my girlfriend doesn't come from like a sports background, but uh, I do. Right, my dad was a coach, not at the same level as your dad, but he coached. My grandfather coached. They're just sports was in our DNA, and we're always competing, we're always playing games, we're always shooting shriveled up pieces of paper in a
Yeah.
garbage can or something. I'm sure I'm echoing the
Yep.
sentiments of things that you do with your family. It's like I couldn't imagine not being like that. I couldn't imagine just sitting on
No.
the couch. Like we compete, like trying to put puzzles together quicker. Like
Yep.
it's crazy stuff, man. So
I
what's
know.
the
I don't know
goal?
if it's good or
What's
bad.
Yeah, of course I know, right? It's just the way it goes. Like I'd rather it be that way than anything else.
Yes.
What's the dynamic with the team? One thing I loved after that first game is that it's a very seems like a very close knit group. What was the dynamic with the team after some losses? Because it's easy to be riding high when you've been playing. You haven't played as much. You've only played 6 games together so far. But after you lose a couple games, especially the close one, who stepped up, who said something, what was kind of the message, right? Because we all know, and I'm sure preaching to the choir here, good teams are even kill. You never get too high, you never get too low.
Hmm.
But it just seems like you were able to kind of flip the switch, and then that game against St. Bonaventure was just like, wow, that's what you want to see every single time. How were you ladies able to compartmentalize that and come out better on the other side?
Yeah, that's a great question. Coach Britt, I was talking to her after the UF game, and I was kind of down about it. You know, I thought we could have played better, and she said, "Hey, give yourself 24 hours to agree about it, and then it's on to the next game." I was like, "Dang, you're so right." So I think our team, especially after, the two losses in a row, and we were so close with the Towson one, it's invaluable to have our players who have been through seasons, and maybe a little older, like to kind of step and be like, hey, it's okay. We
Mhm.
got like 14 games, and this is just the beginning. We're not even conference. And I think Sophia, Jules, Tags, Maggie, really Paige, all of them do such a great job of kind of setting the example and the standard for the younger girls. And I think after the Towson game, especially, we knew we could play better, and we kind of came back with a vengeance, I guess, for the next week. Not even so much against the other team, but just knowing that we could play better and just to live to our full potential and execute, put shots away. So I think our team is a very positive team. We didn't get too down. We kind of just looked to the next thing and focused on that week and what we were doing to kind of move on and get the good vibes going again.
I love it. Before I let you go, I got to ask you because I've been around, I've been covering sports for over a decade here in Tampa, and I've been to every sporting event you can go to here, whether it's an MMA, WWE, high school, college, lacrosse, baseball, softball, everything, volleyball, it don't matter. I don't know if I've ever seen a team as happy as after that first win. And
Yeah.
it was just incredible. The fireworks going on in the background. And it
Yeah.
wasn't like, oh, celebrating and being, you weren't bragging. You weren't trying to make the other team feel bad. It was pure joy and happiness.
Yeah.
And it was incredibly refreshing because, and one thing I love about, college athletics on the female side, and I say this when I work and cover softball, is like, never down. You got to be a great teammate. That's such an, press in on, you have to not just focus on yourself. It's about everybody. And I wish the men's side would take heed to that a little bit more too. But that first win, Allison, it was just, I was standing on the field looking around like, oh my God, like
Yeah.
you guys were beaming with pride and joy and emotion. When you look back on that night, 10, 20, 30 years from now, what are you going to remember most about that evening?
Oh my gosh. Yeah, like you said, it was just pure joy. I think coach did a great job the week going into the game being like, obviously we got to execute and get the job done, but she was like, just while you're on the field, take a moment to kind of take it all in and enjoy it, because there's, like you said earlier, there's only one inaugural game and they did a great job of advertising it, so like so many people were there. I think there were almost 3,000 people there, set a Florida record or something. And
Mm-hmm.
just, and I think the anticipation too of the training year last year, it was so much build up. It was like February 7th was on our calendar for a year
Mm-hmm.
and a half, and I think, yeah, it was a long time. But now, yeah, it was a perfect balance of getting what we needed to get done, but just being able to like take a look around and just be like, this is a day I'm gonna remember for the rest of my life. Probably one of the best days of my life to date, 100%. That and my wedding will probably be like the two best
Mm-hmm.
days ever. But yeah, so it was just incredible. I don't know how else to describe it other than pure joy, and we got to enjoy that moment, that inaugural moment, and then now we're just kind of rolling with the season. So it was incredible.
It was. And I know sometimes people, and I don't think this is a great idea, but some people will say, don't ever say this is the best day of your life or one of the best days of your life. Listen, the more times you can say that in this short time we're on this earth, the better.
Yes,
So don't ever
absolutely.
feel bad about that, because I didn't want to speak in hyperbole and say that it was, one of the best days of my life, because I wasn't on the team. But it's to be 100% transparent and honest with you, Allison, it's the night that I won't forget. And I was just
Yeah.
the guy. Oh, only thing that I have to hang my hat on, I was the first person to ask a question to Coach McCord after the game. That was it, right? As far as my involvement. But it's those moments of life in life that you're going to look back on. You
Yeah.
can't take your money in your bank account with you. You can't do any of this other stuff with you. But when you're laying on your deathbed one day and you think back at all the great things that you've been able to accomplish, the
Hmm.
appearances that you have, the people that you meet, those are the kind of memories. The more you have, the better and more fulfilling that your life is. So I'm so
Yeah.
glad that you've been able to experience that. And I thank you on behalf of everybody in the Tampa Bay area for not just, your play on the field, but your leadership and the way that you're active with all of the other players in our community and just representing the green and gold in the Tampa Bay area. So congratulations on all your success. I cannot wait to see you. I'll probably be out there on Sunday as well. For everybody out
Awesome.
there, get on out there. Go usfbulls.com for your information. There's a lot of shady third-party sites trying to sell USF tickets. There's only one place to get them. Go usfbulls.com. All the information is on there. Our lacrosse team, 4-2. They're going to go to 5-2 this weekend. Sunday, 1 p.m. against Xavier. Bark at the Park, and salute to service over there at Corbett Stadium. Allison, this has been an incredible time. Thank you so much for joining me, and good luck this weekend. We'll talk soon.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Jay.
You got it.